Welcome back to our podcast, where we tackle the pressing issues of modern life. Today, we're focusing on a topic that many of us has faced head-on during the past few years. It's community and loneliness. So, we'll explore how having support systems affects our mental health and well-being. And joining me today is Mingailė. Hello.
Hello.
Mingailė, could you tell me a little bit about yourself?
So, hello everybody. My name is Mingailė. I'm a psychologist. And together with my husband, we have this organization that we call Wade into Adventure. We traveled around the world and collected these good experiences of schools practices. And now we work in Lithuanian education, and mostly with non-formal education. And I'm also a new mom. So that's also something I identify myself with mostly.
Well, that's amazing. Congratulations on being a mom. And I'm going to
you.
strike you with our first question today. Mingailė, what does loneliness mean to you? And how is it different from being alone?
That's a good question. I think we face this question in our life, like everybody, right? I think that to me, the main difference is about being able to choose or not.
Yeah,
so
of course.
like to be alone, I can choose. And it's more connected with positive feelings to me. And feeling loneliness is more about this negative feeling, right? It's very subjective, but it's something that's connected even with pain, I can say. Scientists even say that feeling lonely, while feeling lonely, it activates the same brain centers as when we feel physical pain.
Oh,
so
okay.
Yeah, it's something to do with pain.
I completely agree with you. Yeah, I didn't know that actually, like feeling lonely makes you feel the same emotions or gets you hits the same nerves as being like hit. Or yeah, so that's really interesting. I think that being alone is a thing that you need to master, because whenever you're lonely or alone, it's like a huge difference. I feel like being alone for people sometimes actually they can be even more productive being alone, and feeling lonely is not a choice. Feeling lonely is a like emotional reaction to your surroundings, I think. So, leaning towards loneliness, I think that we should talk about how loneliness changed since COVID-19 pandemic. Maybe you have some insights on that.
Well, I think in general, our society is getting more and more lonely. And all these researches shows that, unfortunately. It's interesting how it changes the different groups of people. Like we used to think that the elderly group of people are the most lonely ones. But now the research shows that it's the young people from 19 to 29 years old. So that's quite shocking also. And how the COVID also showed and also increased this loneliness. We actually had a good timing, because we got married before COVID with my husband, and we decided to travel. And we traveled for almost a year, and just after the COVID started, we were planning to come back, more or less. So it was a good timing for us, because we already felt a bit tired, and we wanted to reflect on things. So this isolated time was a good time for us also to reflect on what we want to do further, and also to prepare. And as we work with the youth, like with the children in schools and students, we faced that people are experiencing a lot of challenges that are mostly because of this isolation, losing connection with people, physical contact, which was essential. And we started working on this program that we called Arklisto. And maybe I will not go further what it means, but this program was also based on that people came back from COVID and they didn't know how to be anymore. We needed to start to again to grieve also, to grieve what happened and how it changed us, how it affected us, and also to learn again how to communicate, how to express feelings, how to look into each other's eyes, how to touch each other and things like that. So this program was really powerful because we spent the whole day with one classroom of young people, and the reflection afterwards was amazing, because they said that it was not only because of this whole COVID situation, but also in general. It was sometimes even the first time when they truly saw their classmates. They are like they are together for like 5 or 7 years, but they never asked anything deep or anything meaningful what they cared about. So it's amazing how these situations that we bring can help people to grow connection and also to meet not only one another but also themselves. So through this the whole playing and going for a walk together and just talking, communicating, it's just very simple things, but when being led by somebody from outside, it really helps.
Oh yeah, I truly agree with you. I was a student back in COVID times, so I got affected directly, because I think a lot of people really let go of themselves. I personally know a plenty of people who let go of themselves, who just sat on their computer every day, just fell into depression, and they didn't do anything. Somehow I managed to find motivation to go into the forest, walk around, do some small workouts in my house, of course. But I think a lot of people say that they felt like they were really, really alone in COVID times. But after I got back to school, as you said, I felt so much joy seeing the people that I used to sit in classes with every single day. I don't know why, but it feels so I would even say charming to see them, because I think people need contact with others. Even if you're introverted or extroverted, you still need the interaction with others. As I said, I found my motivation while being alone. But do you think it is possible to be happy when you're alone for other people?
Well, first of all, I'm really glad to hear that you managed to, go through this experience positively. And as you said, always look for the bright side.
Yes, of course.
But we are different and it affects us different. I think that some people thrive in solitude while others feel lonely even in the presence of others. So that has a lot to do on our personal characteristics. So what was your question? Sorry.
My question was,
is it possible to be
happy when you're alone?
Happy when you're alone. Yeah. So to continue, yes, I think that it is possible to be happy when you're alone. Maybe it depends on how much, what kind of amount, what amount of time we're talking about. But as you also mentioned, lots of people are looking for solitude when they are looking for personal growth, when they're looking for productivity, when they want to create something. I mean, we need that time. And
Yeah,
for
of
me
course.
personally, after becoming a mother, I'm also like striving for this solitude time from time to time, because it's essential to come back to yourself, to your senses, like where am I, what do I want, what are my goals, like how do I reach those goals. So it's very important to reflect, and it's best to do it when it's silence, you know, when it's just you, and it has a lot to do with your personal relationship with yourself. If you feel good with yourself, I think it doesn't really matter if you're among people or you're by yourself. But if, you know, some struggles strike, then it can be a challenge both ways.
You mentioned that there's like some people who even don't feel good while being around people. Do you think that like community and like friends could help like, let's say, cure the lonely feeling?
Cure is an interesting word in this situation.
Yeah, maybe not cure, but help to deal with it, you know?
Yeah. So definitely, I think that community is one of the key for all human beings. And you know that there is this blue zone countries in the world that they are considered to be the happiest or like healthiest or like longest living age. And what is the common thing that like combines these community countries is community, that these people are often have this community. So this sense of belonging is something that is really important to people, you know. It gives connection, it gives understanding. You're not feeling alone, you're feeling seen, you're feeling understood. And so this emotional support, also shared experience. You know, it's like even in therapy when I meet clients, it's often, you know, when I share my own experience, it reflects to other person that, oh, you know, I'm not alone in this, and it's something we share, and it makes it, you know, the shared experience can make it easier to cope. And so it can, you know, community can also give practical assistance, like in problem solving. You know, sometimes we have different experiences, and maybe some guidance can help you to go through some problems. And
I really liked your insight, to be honest. Leading to my next question, I want to tell you a little story. During COVID-19, I really got into streaming. It was like my hobby, which is basically broadcasting online. And I got to, I found a lot of online friends. We actually built like a small community, we can say that, where we just chatted, we spent the time together. I mean, it was from all the countries you can imagine. It was, one girl was from Australia, the other boy was from Britain. A lot of people were from Norway. Basically what I'm saying, we did a community online to like help us get through our feeling of loneliness, you know? So I want to ask you, do you think that digital communities could like replace the physical ones? And if yes, why?
Yeah, I think it's really amazing, like how much we can reach. I think it's really amazing how this like geographic shrinks when we start using digital world. But to be honest, I think that digital communities can complement like in some way, and in some cases maybe even replace it, but not entirely. I think that this in-person interaction cannot be
replaced.
Replaced, yes. Right? Yeah, that it cannot be replaced entirely. Just because of all these human qualities, as you know, body language and facial expressions that you can, you know, give to one another, and physical touch, you know, all these things that really brings lots of depth in the whole relation. but in some cases I think it's amazing, and we shouldn't say that, oh, digital things are bad, and they create only problems and codependence and stuff like that.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with you. Even though I have spent almost like 2 years of my life in the digital communities, I still missed the person near me, because like when you're just talking, it doesn't feel the same when you, as you said, like you see the body language, you see their facial expressions. It's like a very different conversation than just from speaking online. So I think you had a really, really fair point there. But I want to go back to one of your ideas that you said. You said that some people, even surrounded by people, can't feel happy. So I want to ask you, what causes that feeling? Like, what can that person do to maybe change it? Or like, why does that person not feel happy around other people?
I think it's a call for that person to look deeper to himself or herself. Like as I mentioned before, that that if we have this connection with ourselves and we feel our senses and we understand what's happening inside, it's easier to understand why I feel lonely among all these people. Maybe I feel different in a way, not that they are better or worse than me, but it's just that I cannot belong to this group of people, or maybe I miss some deeper conversations and it's too superficial for me. But in some cases, I remember that, for instance, when you have a personal crisis, for instance, a beloved person dies, or you have a breakup and you're among people, then it can be also these cases that you can just connect with the particular people, maybe your family, or maybe the people that went through the same experience. So I think it depends on lots of things, but the one of the main things is probably to look answers inside yourself, and maybe a therapy could be a good way to help understand yourself.
Oh, I mean, that's just a perfect answer. That was exactly what I was looking for. I'm dying to ask you, what do you think about like the social media and it affecting the feeling of loneliness?
Yeah, okay. So I think that it can have a big impact on your life, not only on your physical appearance, because if you spend lots of time on social media or on computer in general, it really affects your well-being, your quality of sleep, or lots of it can affect lots of things. I think it can have a big impact. It also depends on how you use this social media. If you use it for your benefit, for your if you want to strengthen your connection, or if you want to find some information or just inspiration, it can be any reason. But if you get stuck in it, or it becomes more powerful than you, like it starts to control you, or you start spending time in these endless TikToks or some feed that is not even interesting or useful for you, then I think it can be a problem, and it brings you to even bigger isolation, or and also there is so much not truth in it. You see lots of things and you think, oh, other people live such a beautiful life and they have so many things, but the reality is that they show only some things that they want to show most of the time. So it also creates this image that is most of the time not really true.
Yeah, I completely.
What do you think?
Yeah, I actually completely agree with you. I mean, I cannot really say that I'm not affected by social media at all because it's kind of my job to be in social media, to just look at TikToks, YouTube Reels, just YouTube videos, to need to analyze them. I can say that a lot of videos, yes, they can affect people who don't know what they're doing, to be honest, in there. They're just like the name for it, it's called doom scrolling, which is basically you just sitting there for hours and just watching random stuff. I think that people that do that, they just get addicted to social media, and that brings them to the phase of just being like a zombie, where you cannot focus on anything because you need to scroll. You cannot like do your work properly because you always feel like you need to scroll. Of course, that has a big impact on like students. They lose a lot of like their attention span, so they cannot concentrate because they need some like subway runners running around so they could concentrate. But I think even if you're watching like the good content, I would say, like for example, some hobby content or whatever you're interested in, too much is always bad for you. So I would say you need to really control yourself on social media, because right now, even today, I was actually going on a bus and I saw like people my age are listening to music. People around like from, I would say 10 to like 13 years old are watching TikTok, but they like are really doom scrolling. They're not like getting to any information from it. They're just scrolling to pass the time. So I think that's really dangerous for us and our like society. So yeah, I think we should do something about it. And the first thing we could do is acknowledge that. Because I heard a quote that if you have a problem, you could write it down on a paper and like 50% of the problem is already solved. So I think we just really need to focus on ourselves and like control ourselves. And if you're too young to do that, I think parents should do their job. Yeah. So
Yeah, I totally agree with you. I think this group that you mentioned from 10 to 13 is a very vulnerable group, and that parents should really also take part in this whole situation if the child is not able to control it themselves. But also myself, I find myself sometimes like dumb scrolling, and I feel that it's something. It has a lot to do with like being tired or feeling some negative feelings, and you're just
you just want the
disconnecting.
dopamine, you just want the dopamine to make you feel a bit better and to spend some time alone, just doing nothing. So this became like the perception of it. I wanted to ask you, Mingailė, when you felt lonely, did you find any hobbies that like helped you get past that feeling, or like some activities that you did?
I think that when I felt lonely, most of the time I would choose creativity, like to write, to listen to music, and sometimes to create music. So I think for me, the creativity helped mostly. Music. I think when you connect with the lyrics or the melody. I think it really helps.
Do you think?
How about you?
Yeah, I personally like to do a lot of physical work because I feel like whenever I'm feeling down, unmotivated, you just need to tell your brain what to do, and then it just gets a lot easier. So if I don't want to do it, I just stand up and go do it. So of course, I put my headphones in, listen to music, and I feel like every single like task I do that I don't want to do makes me like a bit stronger and makes me feel in control of my body, that not my lazy part of me is controlling my body, but just my motivated me. So that makes me feel really good. And I wanted to ask you, like,
movement is really working for me too.
Do you think that society and the world that we live in have like enough tools and support for people who are really, really lonely? For example, lonely grandparents, because I used to volunteer at Red Cross, and the statistics are really sad. I think like there's almost 300,000 elderly people who don't have anyone to talk to. So, yeah, do you think that society and the world we live in have like the proper tools to help it?
Well, I think that as society, we are still very much individualized.
Mm-hmm.
So it's, all this statistic and also our personal experience shows that we should, face this problem and say that, okay, it's time to take care not only about myself, but also, just simple things, get to know your neighbors, or maybe this podcast could be a call for the listener to call his or her grandfather or grandmother,
Yes.
and these small actions really can make a difference, I believe. And you mentioned the voluntary thing. I think
Mm-hmm.
it's one of the most amazing things a human being can experience. Find the organization that you support, that you like the values, and spend some physical work, some just empathy things, and it will make a difference as well. Also, thinking about bigger changes, I think about such solutions as, why not to invest in such things as combining elderly home with the kindergarten, where we could learn from one another, and in this way to also reduce this feeling of loneliness. Like, I think that there is lots of good examples in the world, and also in our mind, like what we can think of that could be made. But yeah, first of all, I think it's important to not forget to look around. And there is this beautiful philosophy, Ubuntu. I don't know if you ever heard about it.
I don't think I'm familiar. No.
Yeah, it comes from Africa, and it's this philosophy that says that success is shared.
Mm-hmm.
So when one person succeeds, success, the community benefits. So it's like, in a way, I am because you are, and if you will succeed, I will also succeed.
Yeah, I heard a similar quote. It was about the like people surrounding you. It was something like, it goes something like this: if you are a friend with a bunch of runners, you eventually will become a runner. If you're a friend with like successful people, you want to be successful. It's like you adapt to things, and as you said, like if one person becomes successful with the whole community help, like the whole community feels the same feelings. So I think that's a really, really positive thing. And yeah, as I said, like the statistics were really sad. Did you want to add anything?
Yeah, you reminded me of another quote, if I can share.
Yeah, of course.
Good things are being said already. So why not to quote? It's this saying, I don't remember who said it, that if you want to go fast, go alone, and if you want to go far, go together. So it's also about this togetherness and this community. And as society, I think as much as we invest in our this connection among each other, we grow like individually and as society, and it will, in like, even in the short but mostly in the long perspective, we would success much more if we do that. Because in the end, when you're alone and dying, not really your money or like
not your wealth is gonna help you.
No.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of touched my next question a bit, a couple questions back, but I still want to get like a concrete answer from you. So do you think that like being alone can bring you positive things? Of course, I would say personally that I think for like more introverted people, it's like a positive thing, because I'm a bit introverted and I actually enjoy spending time alone, because I feel most of the time my social battery is dead, so I need to take a walk myself. I need to be with myself. I want to, I don't know, write something. I want to watch something. I want to eat something nice, but I want to be alone. So, but I asked a couple of my friends who live closer to the like city, and they said that they are like even scared to be with themselves for some reason. They don't want to go watch a movie by themselves because they want someone to go with them, because they cannot like be with themselves. So do you think spending time alone is like positive or more negative?
Well, I think it depends a lot. Like if you have fear being alone, like, or being alone with your thoughts, I think this might be a problem that, you know, maybe you should seek for some professional help, or just talk about this issue with your family members or close friends. Like, but if it's something, like you said, connected with personal growth or productivity things, then it's all right. I mean, we all need that at some point. What I really liked about introverts, like this example about introverts or extroverts, is that introverts wake up with full battery, and during the day it gets empty, and the
and the opposite for extroverts.
Opposite, right? So to sum up, we all need people. It's just like the matter of how they affect us. You know, but even like, it's most of the time we have both, like both qualities, and I think it's very important to know your limits, to know your boundaries, and when you need to step back and when you need to recharge with people, and maybe these signs that you're afraid of staying alone, or that you're always seeking for company, or on the opposite, you always want to isolate and you just can't stand being with people. It's signs that you should take care of.
Yeah, I would just add that a lot of people I know who are still in school are they are usually extroverted by their like previous experiences. What I mean by that is they found a lot of friends back in kindergarten and primary school, but as they grow up to be teenagers and to be adults, they lose a lot of people. So I think like they get attached to people and they just cannot be alone by themselves, because they are like it's a bad like habit, you know. But I think if you truly work on it, like you just take the risk. Look, I'm scared to go to the cinema alone. You just stand up and you just go to the cinema alone. Yeah, I mean, if you take the risk, I think you can just be comfortable in your own skin and you don't need anybody else to compliment you, you know? So I think,
easier to say than to do for
yes. I know a lot of people
Probably.
who are struggling with this, but myself, I like to challenge myself. So I would really recommend that to our listeners. If anybody is struggling, take the risk and see the outcome. I promise you it's going to be positive. So, could you share me a story where connecting with someone helped you overcome a period of loneliness?
What was the question again?
Is there some sort of a story where you found someone who helped you overcome loneliness?
I think myself
Okay.
would be that person. You know, I felt lonely. I took myself to travel, and then
Movement.
probably also other people, because that's also interesting. A good example of like how traveling with somebody and traveling on your own makes a difference, because when you're traveling alone, you're most of the time more open, you know, to other things, to other people. So I think that the reason I traveled some of my journeys was because I felt lonely, And also myself, I experienced that, oh, okay, I acknowledge that I'm lonely. I accept the feeling. I don't try to neglect it. I try to grieve it if it's needed. And then also to let in other people or other signs or nature or God, whatever works for you, to nourish it, to help you.
Yeah, I would agree with you that you need to like discover what works for you, because like what works for example me might not work for you. So I think that's a really big part for people to actually get to know themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
And our time is almost up, and we have a tradition to do a really fun and creative question at the end. So I want to ask you, what do you think, like, if a loneliness was a place, what kind of place would it be? For example, you could say that it's a place in a book, for example, like Harry Potter, Forbidden Forest, or something like that,
Oh, that's a really interesting question.
It's a fun question. It's a creative question. I want to see how you would elaborate it.
Well, it's hard to think of exact place, but somehow an island image comes to me. Like,
could you describe it like in more detail?
Yeah, it's in this lonely island in the middle of Pacific Ocean, far, far away from all the, Babylons and cities. And but then it should be only one person living on the island, right?
Yeah.
Because if it's more people, then it gives another feeling. So yeah. And there is even this saying, I think, that no person or no human is an island. So we're all connected, through roots or something. So being an island, being isolated from everyone else, this brings this sadness and feeling of loneliness.
Well, let's hope like that island has some coconut trees or something to eat. Yeah, because
or he has Wilson.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. This film comes to me, right?
Yeah, I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask my next question. What like film associates with like this loneliness theme, and why?
So that's the one.
The Stranded, I think. No, wait, let me Google up.
I am not sure about the name, but I remember it very vividly. Like, even though I saw it very long time ago.
Castaway, yes, with Tom Hanks.
Yeah,
Castaway. Yeah, I mean, even watching the movie, you can see that the Wilson, the imaginary friend, helped the main character of the movie to survive. So even while being alone, he still managed to not lose his mind, kinda. Not lose his mind and still find like the happiness, and he still needed someone to communicate with. So I think that's a really great choice in movies. So
I also remembered another movie. Sorry.
No, it's okay. Yeah.
It's called Her. I don't know, maybe you saw it.
Yeah, it's with Joaquin Phoenix. Yeah.
Yes, and his relationship with the robot.
Yes. I saw it.
I think there was more topics, but somehow this feeling of loneliness also felt like left for me also in that movie.
Okay. Yeah. I think
it's hard to replace the real human being.
To be honest, there's a lot of movies I would add to this list to just talk about the topic of loneliness. But those two, I think, are really, really close to actually being like the perfect movie for this. And how to beat it. Like, for example, Castaway really, really shows how learning how to be with yourself is important. So I think that's a really good thing to learn for everybody.
If you want to survive, right?
Yeah, so unfortunately, our time is up, but thank you so much for sharing your insights. They're really, really good, Mingailė. And thanks to our listeners.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks.
It was very interesting to talk with you. You have a lot to share.
Yeah. Of course, we want to thank our listeners. We hope the discussion has given you some food for thought. And until next time, take care and stay connected. Mingailė, do you want to say anything to our viewers? Listeners, I'm sorry.
I am because we are.
Oh.
To quote the Ubuntu philosophy. So let's stay together.
Perfect. Thank you all so much for listening, and goodbye.
Goodbye.